Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Essential Education YouTube channel. My name's Jen, the Student Success Coach here at Essential Ed. Thrilled to be connecting with you in yet another time where we can come and talk to you, our dreamers and doers, our adult learners here at Essential Education, to speak about success, to talk about what success looks like, what planning your individual dreams and goals looks like, and how you can view that, how you can achieve that. And we're doing that specifically today by answering a question that we often get from students who are just starting out their next chapter, whether that be they're joining us as many of our students do here at Essential Ed in completing their high school education by getting their high school equivalency credential and taking the GED or the high set or whatever test might be required in their state to accomplish that goal and get that credential in hand. Other students are joining us as they're taking their next steps in college or career, vocational or trade training, or in shoring up that process to prepare for and get a great new job and hopefully turn that into a career for something that they love. See, we get the unique opportunity to partner with people at lots of different chapters in their life. So success in and of itself is a big thing, and it means a lot of different things to a lot of different people. It's shaped by who we are, our individual gifts and talents. It's shaped by our past and by our experiences, by learning and growing through the things that we did well, and maybe even learning more, growing more through the missteps that we had. If you missed our live stream on how failure is a powerful driver of success, I encourage you to go back and check that out because we talked about some key concepts to really learning from every experience that you have in your life. But today we're going to be specifically targeting a topic that comes out of this question that we often get. Jen, how do I do it? Just tell me how to pass the test. Tell me how to get a great new job. And you know, there is no magic pill for that. There's no immediate switch. And the truth is, if it were that easy as flipping a switch from non-successful to successful, then everyone would do it, right? Everyone would just instantly be successful. I often say if I had a superpower, it would be that little twinkle of the nose that in that old 1950s, 1960s sitcom, she had the ability to just twinkle her nose and go wherever she wanted to go. Unfortunately, success doesn't work that way. But we've got some great news. We have polled our students. We have looked at long-standing research in the field of goal getting and goal achievement, success as a whole. And we're coming to you with 10 things, 10 behaviors, 10 actions, 10 mindsets that successful students, successful people have in common. These were 10 things that stood out over research, over survey, over interview. These 10 things were things that were shared by people that deemed themselves or that achieved goals that said that they were successful in what they were doing. And we're going to share those 10 things today. So what are 10 things that successful students do? Number 1, successful students plan. You will often hear us say this when you're starting your journey with Essential Education or any other preparation product to get ready to take your high school equivalency exam or get ready for college. The best way to pass is to plan to pass. Have a plan in place. Know the steps. Get the information. Get the process information. What's required of you? What paperwork pieces are required of you? What manpower or student effort pieces are required of you? What subjects do you need to study for? What does your test look like? How much does it cost in your state? Do you even know where to go in your state to get the resources that you need? And then how do you put a study plan in place to reach all of those goals? Successful students look at the road ahead, look at their pit stops, and if they don't know the answer to a question, they ask. They put a plan in place. And that's something we can help you with here at Essential Education. Again, because we meet students where they are. No matter where you are in your journey, we're going to help you say, okay, here's where you are now. Here's where you want to go. Let's put a plan in place to get you there. Successful students plan. The second thing successful students do, they prioritize. They know the big things, they make them the big things, they recognize the small things, and they make them the small things. Prioritization is something that a lot of people struggle with. So if you're saying, oh, Jen, I don't even know where to start with getting my priorities in line, stay tuned to this channel and stay tuned to the many resources that we have here at Essential Education, because as we start to push toward the new year, as we start to look at what obtaining our goals looks like, we're going to be talking specifically about priorities, because knowing the things that you must do, that you should do, that you can do later versus the things that you would like to do that usually take priority over all of those other things. Getting those priorities in line and getting those right and putting your mental and physical energy into the right things is a key component to accomplishing any goal. So, second thing, successful students prioritize. The third thing, successful students know their goals. Probably one of my favorite things that I get to do in talking to students here at Essential Education, and that is talking to them about why. Talking to them about what their why is. What do they want to do? What drives them to take these next steps in life? Have they always wanted to be this particular career? Have they always dreamed of doing this particular thing? Did they accomplish a lot in their life, but they look back and they say, you know what, I just want, for my own peace of mind, I want to say that I got my high school education. I want to say that I got my college education. I made a promise to my mom. I made a promise to my family. I made a promise to my kids. I want to commit to lifelong learning. I want to get a better job. I'm tired of living paycheck to paycheck. I want to move from just surviving to truly thriving. Whatever that is that pushes you to take steps towards your dreams and goals, having a solid why is essential, because that why is what will drive you on the days, not if, but the days when things aren't so easy, on the days when you have to study and you don't really want to, on the days when you get some setbacks in that progression toward your goals. Your why needs to be your biggest driver. So know that why, know your goals, put visual reminders around, whether it be a Post-it note on your mirror in the bathroom, a wallpaper or a quote that pops up on your phone every time you start to study, or a note as you're walking out the door, whatever that is for you to remind you of your goals, write it down. Have a mental mindset that says, I know why I started this, and I know why I'm going to keep pursuing this goal. Number 4, what else do successful students do? They know how to say no. They look back at that list of priorities and they say, these are the things that are really important. Sure, I have things in my life that are my responsibilities, the things that I must do. I've got to go to work right now to keep paying the bills. I've got a family, I've got parents, I've got friends that I have responsibilities and obligations that I care for and I care about. All of those things have to be done. But there's this whole gray area in our lives of things that we like to do, things that will tend to pull us away from our dreams and goals, because they're a whole lot more fun. Those are easy yeses, right? Hey, do you want to go to happy hour after work? Yes. Hey, do you want to go to the beach this Saturday instead of studying? Yes. But successful students know how to say no. They know how to push back and say, okay, if I say yes to this now, what am I sacrificing? Or do I need to say no to sacrifice for my long-term goals? It's this instant gratification trap that we can often find ourselves in. So learn how to say no. Number 5, successful students get support. We just finished up a great time together. You can go back and check it on our YouTube page here about how successful students are, or how supported students are more successful. Studies have shown it. If you have support, if you are reaching out to people to come alongside you, if you aren't trying to go it alone, that support makes you more successful. That support keeps you encouraged and motivated. And if you've got friends and family that you haven't yet shared your dreams and goals with, I encourage you to do that today. I encourage you to say, hey, I just want you to know this is something I'm working toward. And at minimum, if you can just encourage me along the way. And at maximum, you might need to ask for help sometimes. Maybe you need a study partner. Maybe you need somebody to watch the kids while you take an hour or two to yourself. Maybe you need whatever that help is, whatever that support is. You will be pleasantly surprised at the people that you already have in your life who, once you're vulnerable enough to share those dreams and goals, the things that you want to accomplish, once you're vulnerable enough with them about that, then you'll see them come around and support you. You've got people out there that love you and care about you, and they want to see you thrive, not just survive. And if you're saying, well, Jen, I'm new to the town that I lived in, or I don't really have a supportive family, I don't really have a strong friendship network, then we want to help you with that. And we've got 2 great areas of communication right now and connection that we can put you in touch with. One is our live coaching sessions, where we get together for free, whether you're a student with essential education or not, talk about study topics, talk about motivation topics. And there in that session, you'll be able to connect with me, but you'll also be able to chat and connect with other students. And it's so encouraging to me as we walk through maybe even some specific study topics together, and someone types in the chat, hey, this is an area I really struggle with, I always have. 9 times out of 10, before I can even jump in with an encouraging message there in the chat, one of our other students is saying, hey, you know what? Don't feel bad about that. That was me, but I've done this to overcome it, and you can do it too. And we all need that, right? We all need to be seen. We all need to be known, and we all need to be encouraged. So live coaching sessions can help with that. And we also have a very supportive social media network. If you hop on over to Facebook, then you can find us there in our Facebook group through GED Academy. We have a great community there who want to reach out in the same way. Folks are in there sharing their struggles, sharing their successes, sharing their study tips. We get in there and give you some freebies along the way. Get support, because supported students are more successful. Number 6, successful students are realistic. Successful students, yes, need that gung-ho, I want to get in, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do all the things. We need that. We need that power and we need that energy. But we also need to be realistic about our schedules. I have so many conversations with students. They're usually at the beginning of their journey, and they say, you know what, I'm going to knock this out. I'm going to study and I'm going to take the test in a week. That's awesome if you can do that, but very rarely does that happen. This is not a test or a process in general, again, that you can just flip a switch on. So you have to be realistic about the time it's going to take you to prepare, and know that that's okay. You also have to be realistic about your life and your schedule. I have students there at the beginning that are really gung-ho, and they say, Jen, I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna study 4 hours every night. I'm gonna knock this out. I'm gonna study 4 hours every night. And then as I'm talking to them, I'm asking them more questions about their life and their work schedule. Oh yeah, well I work a 12-hour shift. I work from 6 to 6, but I can come home and I can eat dinner at 7, and then I can study until midnight. I want to give you pause there, because I don't want to squelch that type of spirit that would make that type of commitment, but that's not a very realistic choice. In the midst of everything that adult learners have going on, if you're already working a 12-hour day, you might do it once or twice. You might say you're going to come home and study 4 hours, and you might do it once, maybe twice, but you're going to burn out very quickly. That is not a fire that you can sustain. That is not a commitment that you can sustain. And when you fail to meet that huge goal that you set for yourself, you're going to be disappointed, you're going to be frustrated, and you're going to want to quit. But there's a lot of wiggle room between 4 hours a day and not studying at all and quitting. So we want to help you, again, prioritize, but set realistic goals, small, measurable goals. Hold yourself accountable, for sure. Set those small goals. And if you say, okay, well, I'm gonna study half an hour every day, and you realize, okay, that's something I can really do, I might even be able to bump that up a little bit, then push back, reevaluate it, and bump it up. Set realistic goals. Set realistic goals for study. Set realistic goals in your overall process. What else do successful students do? Tip number 7, they study on the go. They find open opportunities within their day, and they take advantage of the wonderful World Wide Web that we have, and they connect to mobile study options. It's one of the great things about our program here at Essential Education is we do that. Everything that we have presented is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in a mobile-friendly environment. So as long as you have a strong internet connection, then you have what you need in hand to study on the go. You've got what you need. And honestly, that's a must-have for busy working adults. You may only have a half hour here, maybe around your lunch break, or you may have a half hour in the afternoon while you're waiting on the kids to get out of school, or while you're waiting to pick them up at sports practice, or if you have other family obligations and I talk to students who take their parents to lots of doctor's appointments and they have all this time in the waiting room. Okay, use that time. Mobile study and online study allows you to push back at your schedule and look at those little fill in the gaps where you can continue to study even in the midst of a busy schedule. Tip number 8, do not cram. Successful students do not cram, especially for these exams. The GED and the HiSET, your high school equivalency exams as a whole, are not built on rote memorization and spitting it back out. And that's what you're going to get from cramming. These exams are not built on that. They are built on long-term memory skills. They are built on, sure, your understanding of some of these concepts and vocabulary words, in essence, the big ideas, but they're built on critical thinking. They're built on your ability to read and logically reason through these types of questions on this exam. These are not exams that you can cram for. Sure, you can give yourself a quick refresher. Students often do this in math if that's what they're working on. I just need like a quick refresher. I need to go back and relearn how to do fractions. I need to go back and relearn how to, do the FOIL method. I need to go back and relearn some things with chemical equations. Sure, we can start to stack up that information in our heads, but a large component of these exams is not built on short-term memory. It's built on long-term memory. It's built on that critical thinking element, your ability to read about another time or read about a subject and think through and figure out what that author's purpose or what that intention for writing might be. Those aren't things that you can cram for. Those are things, again, that if you want to pass, you have to plan for, and you have to plan for that. And that's something that we can help you with here at Essential Education. Number 9, make sure I have my 9 fingers. Successful students exercise self-care. Things like making sure that you're hydrated, things like eating healthy and exercising, all these things that we already know that we're supposed to do that we probably don't do enough of. I know that I don't do enough of. But the bottom line is make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Think about it this way. You cannot pour out unless you are adequately filled up. Your brain works in combination with your body. And these exams have often been referred to as a thinking marathon, meaning, again, putting these critical thinking skills into play. And that's not something that you can just run off and sprint with a little bit of energy in your tank. These are long-standing, need to have all the brain power that you possibly can muster up type skills. So you need to take care of your body as well as your mind. You cannot pour out unless you are pouring in. So take care of yourself. I often explain it this way. Even on test day, the test makers are building in opportunities for you to take a break, for you to go get some water, for you to have a snack. Why do they do that? Because they know that the human brain needs it. They know that you're not going to be your best if you sit down to study or to test for an hour to 2 hours at a time without any breaks. There's this really cool thing called spaced learning, which educators have evaluated. And what they have found is that no matter your learning style, but especially if you are an active learner, but no matter your learning style, but especially active learners, it's this idea called spaced learning where the brain actually retains more if you learn a little bit and then take a break. And then come back and review what you learned and learn a little bit and take a break and then come back and review what you learned. That's an exercise in building long-term memory. Your brain needs that care. So successful students, number 9, exercise self-care. Number 10, what do all of our success stories have in common? They reflect. Successful students reflect. They look back over their journey at several different points. Successful students reflect in the moment when you get that practice exam and you say, okay, I didn't do as well in this area or this area, so what can I learn from that? What can I learn from those mistakes and turn that into a lesson? What can I learn from that? I missed this question. Why did I miss this question? Let me get a little bit more instruction. Let me reflect on that and make that area that's not so strong, make that area stronger going forward. They reflect in the moment. Successful students also reflect over time. One of the things that many of our students here at Essential Education have in common is often a sense of regret. They come to us and they say, you know what, I didn't finish high school in that traditional sense. And here's my story. And again, it's one of my favorite things here is just being able to walk somebody through that. We have some students with some real pain and some real missteps in their past. A lot of it, 98 to 99% of it, was nothing they could have controlled, was nothing they could have done. And all of life is summed up. Our character, our ability to be successful is not based on our circumstances. It's not based on how we feel. It's based on the reaction that we have to those circumstances that may have been completely beyond our control. And we have then the choice, yes, to mourn that, to say that's not what I wanted to have happen. I really wish that things would have worked out in a different way, but they didn't. So how can I reflect on that? What can I learn from my past to prepare me for my present and fuel my future? Okay, let me say that again. What can I learn from my past that prepares me for my present and fuels me for my future? Successful students reflect. One really practical way you can do this, I've mentioned this in several other sessions that we've had together, several other connection times, just because I find so much value in it, is to set a review day for yourself. To set some point throughout your week. I like to do mine on Sunday nights. Some point throughout your week where you look back on the previous week and say, okay, what were my wins this week? What were the things that I did really well? Be thankful for those things. Congratulate yourself for those things. And put a plan in place for the next week to continue those things. Then be able to look back with a critical eye, not a hateful eye, grant yourself grace, but look back with a critical eye and say, you know what could I have done differently this week? What were the things I wish I would have done that I didn't do? Or what were the mistakes I made that I don't want to repeat in the future? Successful students reflect, they self-evaluate. And you know what? Employers are looking for that too. It's just a great people skill. It's something that I find that those people who are content and satisfied in their life do in general. So again, we can open up this big umbrella of success. But in targeting what we're talking about today, let me do a brief recap for it. What do successful students do? What are 10 things that successful students do? They plan. They put a plan in place to meet their goals and objectives. Number 2, they prioritize. They know what's important, they know what the big things are, and they know what's not so important, and they don't sweat the small stuff. Number 3, they know their goals. They know why they started. They put reminders in place so that on tough days, they can give themselves a kick of momentum and remind themselves why they started. Number 4, successful students say no. They know that instant gratification is a trap. Saying yes might feel good in the moment, but anytime you're sacrificing that long-term reward for short-term gain, you're falling victim to temptations. Successful students get support. They know that supported students are more successful in general, and they reach out for the support of friends and family or online communities and resources. Number 6, successful students are realistic. They don't put these high pie in the sky goals that are not obtainable and get frustrated and lose hope. They set small, measurable goals. They make little tiny boxes, they check them off, and they move on to the next step. Number 7, successful students take advantage of every little opening in their schedule and turn that into an opportunity, and they study on the go. Number 8, successful students do not cram. They know that success is built on long-term memory when it comes to your GED and your high set. These high school equivalency exams are not rote memorization. They're critical thinking skills, so you cannot cram for them. Number 9, successful students care for themselves. They take care of their brain and their mental and emotional health. They take care of their bodies because their bodies fuel their brains, because you can't pour out if you are not pouring into your health. And number 10, successful students reflect. They look back in the moment over immediate things like practice tests and what they're currently learning, and they review and reflect on that. And they look back over the course of their lives and they learn from the past to prepare them for the future and set them up for future success. You can do this, and we know that we can help. If you're connected with us as an essential education student, then we're happy that we're here and you're getting and taking advantage of some of these extra resources. And always know that we have a team of advisors who are there ready to help you in any way at 1-800-460-8150. And if you're not yet connected with Essential Education, click some of the links in our bio. We would love to set you up with a plan for success. Thanks so much for joining us. We hope to see you here on this channel again soon.